morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you're at. I know you guys are from all over. I want to make sure that you can hear me. Sometimes I forget to ask that question, and I know one of these days you're not going to hear me. So if you can hear me, if you would type in that little chat section down there, and I can see if you can hear me. So if you would do that real quick, I would appreciate it. Colleen says she can hear me. Oh, yes. I have the amazing Jessica sitting next to me. Would you like to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all the good stuff?
Yes, all of that.
All of
Hey
that.
guys, all of that. Yes.
Now, the catch is today, Jessica, you're going to have to do something a little bit different. Whatever language is the native tongue of the person that's on the call, you're going to have to say good morning or good night in that language, if you don't mind.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, I guess it's not going to happen. Okay. Thought I'd get that happen. Hey, Ron, what's going on? Hey, Debbie, how you doing? There's a bunch of you there who haven't commented. I don't want to call out your name. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But, you know, just if you would just post in there, put where you're from. Ronald, I know, is from Chicago. Where's everybody from? Sounding loud and clear. Thank you, Linda. I know you're in Florida, I think. I got New York City. David's representing New York City. Debbie from Philly. And let's see, we got Richard from Alberta, Canada. Awesome. And we got Partha from India. We've got Francesca from Seattle. Colleen's New Jersey. Newest member, David Glass. Good to have you here, buddy. We've got Mohammed in there from Saudi Arabia. We've got David from Boulder Creek, California. Man, people from all over the place. And this, guys, I'm so excited about today's. Today's is so cool because, you know, one of the biggest problems that I see is that people don't know the rules of Facebook. They don't get it. They don't know the rules. They get caught up in these rules and they lose their accounts, and it's just awful, awful stuff. We don't want that to happen. Hey, there's Christine from Vancouver. So we got a couple people there. I think we're almost full at this point. So let me get my screen up here so you guys can see it. And this is Facebook ad secrets, okay? It's image and text rules and hacks. So I'm going to go through a lot of stuff that you've probably never heard of. Some of this stuff is going to be over your head. I don't know, unless we just have like a lot of super intelligent people listening to this video right now. But it is going to be a little bit technical. And the thing to do with technical learning is understand that you won't understand everything. Seriously, just let it, you know, kind of flow over you, and some of it will stick and you'll get it. And then you can always go back and rewatch. So understand it is going to be a little bit heavy today, but we're going to have some fun with it. I've got some really cool stuff. In the very end, we're going to be talking about hash. Yeah, and I think Snoop Dogg's involved with hash. So you definitely want to watch to the end because that's pretty cool stuff. So what are Facebook rules and why are they so important? Why are these rules really important? Why do we even have to listen to them? We just do what we want, can't we? No, unfortunately we can't. Because breaking them can cause your ad, well, I should say your ad. Breaking them can cause your ad to be disapproved, okay? So it's really, really important. Got a little spelling error. That happens, doesn't it? Also, breaking them can cost you your account. Now, that's some serious stuff because let's assume you've got an account and you've been selling for, I don't know, a year, 2 years, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is, and your pixel has now really warmed up to the niche that you're in, and it's finding you people right and left, and then all of a sudden, boom, you lose your account. That sucks. I mean, that really, really sucks. And if you do that, it can cost you so much money. As a matter of fact, breaking those rules and can cause your ad to not even be shown or shown less. That's one of the things that can happen. So if you're breaking rules and your images aren't right or your text isn't right, you know, that's the minor part of what can happen to you. It can also increase your cost of advertising. You may not realize that, but if you're doing an ad that breaks some of these rules, Facebook can just say, well, you know what? We're going to charge you a little bit more. And, you know, if you're on really slim margins, which everybody is when they run ads, right? We're trying to make that ad profitable. We're trying to add bumps to it. We're trying to add upsells and downsells. We're trying to, you know, email market these people. And if they increase your ads, you know, your cost per thousand, your CPMs, or, you know, your cost per click or something goes up, that can actually make your ad not profitable anymore. So we don't want that to happen. We don't want to break these rules. But the only way to not break the rules is to know what they are, which we're going to cover today. It can also cost you conversion and results. So, you know, if you're not doing what they're telling you to do, it can actually lower your conversions, which really sucks, or results. So if you're doing an app download or you're trying to get opt-ins or whatever, breaking these rules can actually hurt you in that area too. So you got to know what you're allowed to say. That's the first part. You've got to know that. If you don't know that, if you don't know what that headline and body text should be, and we're going to start with actually text and headlines first, and then we're going to move into images because there's rules on both. So let's look at one here. This one here says, are you a good Christian? Would you like to meet women who are Christian also? This ad would not be approved because what it does is it assumes that you know the religion of the person. Okay. So if you're asking a question like that, Facebook says, no, 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 we don't want to do that, because if we do that, people are going to think we're creepy. Now, you know, we are kind of creepy, right? Because we want to get all the data we can about these people, but you can't say that you have the data. You can't do that. So what would you do in a case like this? You would say, well, something acceptable would be meet Christian women. You could do that. That works, right? And maybe you're focusing on, you know, Christian, you know, Facebook groups, or, you know, you could say Jewish, or you could say Hindu, or whatever you want. It doesn't matter. The point is you could actually target people who are part of those groups, but you can't say that you know that they're part of those groups. Can't do that. Okay. So what's the next one here? Hey, Frank, buy this shirt. Now, this ad would not be approved because it assumes that you know the name of the person. Now, obviously, if you run an ad like this, not everybody's going to be Frank. But there could be a Frank out there, and if Frank sees this, he's going to go, wow, they know who I am. That's creepy. I don't like Facebook. I think I'm getting off this platform. So you can kind of see where Facebook's going with that. They're saying, you know, if you do something along these lines, you're making Facebook look creepy. Facebook doesn't want to look creepy. They don't want that, okay? So you can't do stuff like that. So what would you do? Acceptable. Get your personalized t-shirt from us. And then you could have a shirt with the name Frank on it, you know, or Bob, or, you know, whatever you want. But, you know, you cannot, and they change this stuff all the time. I know I used to see, you know, people advertising for the people who were born in the month of September, which is the month I'm born in. And I was thinking, wow, that's some really cool targeting. But I haven't seen those ads in a long time. And I wonder if maybe they've actually said, hey, you can't do that anymore, because they are getting more and more strict. As we know, you know, privacy has been a big issue for Facebook. So, you know, they're getting super, super strict on that. So we got to be real careful. And, you know, you can still target, you just can't say that you're targeting, basically. So the language that is not allowed. What kind of language is not allowed? All right, vulgar language. Obviously, Facebook doesn't want that on their platform. They just don't. Okay, they don't. Facebook really is, you know, wants to have this squeaky clean image, and they just don't want to offend anybody. So don't put that in your ads. You can never use vulgar, profane, or insulting language. All of your ad text should never be in any way understood as rude, offensive, or bullying. Okay, so there's a lot of categories here. You can't bully people. You can't offend people. You can't be rude. You know, you can't say, do you look fat and overweight? You could, you know, you can't do that. Okay. You can't say, are you too short? Are you too tall? Are you too anything? You can't do that. None of these things are going to be allowed on Facebook. You know, and like I said in the beginning of this training, at best, your ad doesn't get approved. At worst, you lose your ad account. So we don't even want to attempt this. Sometimes people will say, well, let me try to put this in my ad and see if I can get it through. You don't want to do that, because, you know, you may or may not get it through. That's not the point, but you could lose your ad account. So it's not just a matter of having that ad approved or not. It's losing your account, losing all that data on your pixel. You just don't want to do it. All right. So other language that's not allowed. Anything that seems deceptive at all. Okay. So you don't see a lot of car ads on here, right? A lot of those car ads are very deceptive in what they're doing. Facebook and Instagram ads are not allowed to contain false, fraudulent, misleading, claims, or content. Okay, so any claims that you may have done that are not adequately substantiated, they're not going to be allowed, or you're going to lose your account. Okay, so it's just best to avoid these things. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Stay away from it. Some examples of deceptive claims are get rich quick schemes. I teach e-commerce, but the one thing I'm going to teach you is that you got to work hard. Okay, but you see people standing in front of mansions, in front of fancy cars, going, hey, you can make $10,000 in an hour and only work 2 hours a week. You can't do that stuff on Facebook. It's just not allowed. And we advertise on there, but we don't advertise like that, and I don't run any kind of ads like that. The other thing they don't allow is multi-level marketing. That's what that MLM is. Because for the most part, and I know there's people in the call that are going to argue, oh, I'm doing great in multi-level. For the most part, nobody makes any money in multi-level. They just don't. Doesn't happen. So don't do it. Don't do it. I think Colleen had asked you a question in there, Jessica. Jessica's been monitoring this off to the side too. You also can't put any claims that don't fully describe the opportunity. So if you're like missing parts in it, you've got to pay to join it or whatever, then you can't do it. Can't do it. You got to be totally transparent and understand that not only when you run these ads, do Facebook look at the ads, they go to the landing page that the ad goes to. They actually go there and they see what you're doing. So if you think, well, I can put in the ad one thing, but landing page, I'm going to change it to something else. No, you can't. They will catch you. And if they think you're trying to intentionally be deceptive, if you're trying to mislead people, you're going to lose your ad account. It's going to happen to you. So, don't come crying to me that I had this great ad going and, they chopped my account because I just did one little thing wrong. It wasn't a big deal. To them, it's a really big deal. Okay, so you want to be really clear about that. If people have to put money into something, you got to be clear about the investment on it. A lot of times there's free plus shipping ads, which is fine. You can do a free plus shipping ad, but make sure you state in the ad that they do have to pay shipping. You don't have to put the amount. That's not required, but you definitely have to let them know if it's a free plus shipping. You can't just say free product, click here to get it. You got to let them know if they're going to have to pay for shipping. Okay, your landing page. What's going on there? Okay, a landing page is the page, and we just now talked about it, is the page that a user will be directed to when they click on your ad or offer. So that's where they end up. Okay, so this could be a ClickFunnels page. This could be a lead page. This could be your web page. It could be anything. But basically, where they go to after they click is going to be called a landing page for our purposes. So allowed pages include Facebook pages. Okay, so you can actually run an ad and send them. Let's say you wanted people to join your group, or something along those lines. You could send them to your Facebook page, but you cannot send them to the Facebook homepage. Let me repeat this. You can send them to any page in Facebook, but not the Facebook homepage. In other words, if it's just facebook.com, they don't allow it. Now, here's the question: why they have to have that rule? Why would anybody even do that? I mean, why would you spend money to send people to the Facebook? I have no idea. I don't even know why they have that rule. I think that rule shouldn't be there, but it is. So I guess somebody has done it in the past. And then, of course, you can send them to your own URL. So it'd be www.yourwebsite.com or your ClickFunnels or your lead page or whatever it may be. But those are the two areas that you can actually send them to. But of course, remember, you cannot just send them to Facebook. Whoever would do that. Who would do that? That makes no sense to me. Okay, so let's talk about pages that are not allowed. Facebook homepage, that's the number one. I want to put that up there. So if any of you are thinking about running ads for Facebook, yeah, you can't do that. Anything that's an error page. Now, I know nobody really intentionally sends people to an error page, but what happens is your link somehow gets messed up, and you're using that link in one of your ads. Maybe it worked in the beginning, and then on down the road, something happened, it became corrupted or whatever. Facebook's going to catch that, and they're just going to cancel your ad. Okay, so that ad's going to go away. Or if you put in a wrong, sometimes we copy and paste stuff wrong, and if it goes to an error page, they won't allow it. Okay. Now this is an unusual one. This is a geographic IP restriction locations. So what happens here is different countries have different restrictions about what their people are allowed to see. So Facebook doesn't have the same rules. So, the things that you could see, let's say in the United States, may be different from China, may be different from Singapore. They could all be different based on their, community standards. And what happens is Facebook has all of those rules in place, but you may be targeting a town, in one of these cities that has these IP restrictions, and your ad's just not going to be shown there. So if your page, when you go to run the ad, includes one of those geographic IP restriction locations, and you try to run the ad and it gets disapproved, that's one thing you want to look at, especially if you're doing international, because you may look at your ad and go, well, the ad looks fine to me. I don't know why they're not allowing this, because in many cases they'll just say it's not approved. So that's one thing you want to check is your geographic IP restriction locations. And what you can do with this is try, let's say you've got 3 different countries you're running and it won't get approved. Remove 2 of the countries and run it to 1 and see what happens. And then try to run it to 2 of them and see what happens. And you'll probably be able to narrow down that one country that's blocking the ad for you. Next thing is, if your website has been flagged with a web of trust, and what that means is they're saying that there's something jinky about your page. This is not Facebook that does this. This is an outside company that does this web of trust thing. But if it's violated that for some reason, then they're not going to allow it on Facebook, and they have a way of telling that too as soon as you put the ad in. Pop-ups are required to click through ads, okay? Not allowed. So you can't say, hey, yeah, here's this free download, but you got to watch this ad first before you get to it. Can't do it. Won't be allowed. Can't do it. And also prohibited content. Okay, so we talked about that in the beginning, some of the language that you can't use, and I am going to cover also the images that you can't use and can use. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you guys a test, and you can actually pick some of these and decide which ones would be good and which one wouldn't be good. So yeah, all right, landing page rules, okay? Now, calm down. These are things you just have to do. You have to accept it. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to agree with it. None of that, okay? You just have to do it. Don'ts. Here's the first don't. No landing pages with minimal content, okay, or low quality content or content that is difficult to access. Now, difficult to access would be like they got to click through ads and all that. But if you've got like nothing there and you told people that they were going to get some content, just don't do it. They aren't going to allow you to do this, okay? And the reason I give you all these rules is when you start running your ads and you submit your ads and they don't get approved, what you want to do is go through the list of all these don'ts and all these things that you can't do and see if that's where your violation is. Because really, especially if you're a new advertiser with Facebook, they don't correspond with you real well. You can send them a message and they're just going to say you violated the standards.
Yeah, before you go too much further, how do you know the geographically IP restricted locations? Is there a
You could probably Google it. I don't know that there really is a good answer to that. I would just say if you're doing something international, okay, and you're getting disapprovals on your ads, the best thing to do is just by removing each country and seeing what happens and resubmitting it, it'll probably tell you, because some of these rules and some of these stipulations of the countries can be really picky about different things. So it's really kind of impossible to know them all. I would just use that removing them, see what happens, see if you get it approved type thing. Next thing you can't do is you can't distract your landing page original content with excessive embedded or pop-up ads. Really the best rule of thumb is not to have pop-ups, but pop-up ads, forget about it. I mean, that is so what, 1990 something, I don't know, maybe early 2000s. You just can't. Do you remember that when you had to have pop-up stoppers? Because I mean, you could go to a page and there'd be like 50 or 100 pop-ups come up, and I'm just like, you're just trying to X them all out. It's insane, right? And you're not going to do anything with that, but upset people. So don't do it. Just don't put them on your page. They're not allowed. Okay. Don't bait people into clicking on ads by using overly cropped images. Now that's like cropping an image of a person maybe doing something where they can't see what else is going on. They have to click on it to get through. Don't use shocking or sexual ad copy. The sexual ad copy, I've actually got some examples of that I want to show you, and you can look at that and decide, if you know the answer to that. So don't do either one of those things. Don't try to monetize Facebook ad views. For example, Facebook ads shouldn't link to a destination page that requires people to click through other ads to access the ads content, okay? Don't do that. A lot of people will say, well, yeah, I'm going to send them to this page and give them this really super cool thing, but they're going to have to click on these ads. And every time they click on an ad, I'm going to make some money. That's how I'm going to monetize my ad. Don't do it. They don't allow it. Not going to happen. Okay. Don't use low quality advertisements or shocking or sexualized imagery. Facebook's really big on that. They're also big on anything that, is violent or anything along those lines. You don't want to do that. So now that we got through all those things you can't do, let's talk about the things you can do. Okay, that's what we want to concentrate on, because you can worry all day long, and you can argue, and you can say that doesn't make sense, and you can do all this stuff, but you're wasting your efforts. You're just wasting your efforts, because bottom line is you have to play by the rules if you want to run ads, and if you don't play by the rules, then you can't run ads. It's really that simple. So you just got to swallow it, accept it, move on. Don't spend any time complaining. That doesn't do you any good. All right, so you always want to present the content upfront, clear, and easily navigatable, okay, in a comfortable environment. Okay, you want them to feel good when they get there. And you want to give them, whatever they clicked on for whatever reason, whatever information, make sure it's there when they get there, so they feel comfortable when they get there. Make sure that the content of your landing pages is relevant to your ad. Now, I see this all the time where somebody will run an ad for a blue t-shirt, and then they send them to their, t-shirt category of their Shopify store. You can't do that. I mean, first off, it's not congruent. People are not going to buy, if you do something like that. Here's what you got to do. If you're selling a blue t-shirt and it has specific wording on it and it's for a male or a female, when they get to that page, it should be that exact t-shirt that you just advertised. A lot of people say, well, I want to send them to my category so I can, sell them all kinds of different stuff. Well, I know you want to, but it doesn't work. When people get sent to a category, or worse yet, I've seen this, and I'll admit it, in 2010 I did it, ran an ad to their homepage. Worst thing in the world you can do. What do they do when they get there? They're like, oh, okay, so this is a website. It's not going to sell them anything. What you want to do is, if you're running an ad, like if we run an ad for a case of beef, right? We do survival food. When they get to that page, guess what they're going to see? A case of beef. That's exactly, because that's what they clicked on. And something in the brain also, when you're clicking around on the internet and you click on one thing and you end up someplace else, something in your brain says, whoa, we don't want to be here. We need to get away from this. And you'll find your bounce rate. Your bounce rate is when people hit your page and then immediately leave is just going to be incredibly high. So you're wasting your money by doing these things. Okay, do your best to clearly connect the branding in your ad with that of your landing page. Okay, they should look the same. So if you've got, a blue and green ad, when they get to that page, it should be blue and green. If you've got a title at the top and it says, 8 ways to run Facebook ads, when they get to the landing page, it should say 8 ways to run Facebook ads. Everything should look the same. Okay, so now I want to look at some ad samples. And as I look at these ad samples, I'm going to give you the rule that Facebook actually publishes, and we can apply those rules to these ad samples. Okay, so the rule on this one here is you can't use any before and after images or images of unexpected or unlikely results. Okay, an example would be an image of side-by-side comparison showing dramatic weight loss. Okay, so here's the question. Which of these images would be acceptable in a Facebook or Instagram ad? And you can put your comments in the box there. So I've got, somebody says number 1 would be acceptable. All right, I've got another vote for number 1. Yes, somebody's saying they've seen images like that. That's very true. You can see images that are not allowed because they slip through the cracks, but they probably won't be around for long and they'll probably lose their ad account. I've got another vote for number 1. Number 1, why not both? Somebody says. All right, and we'll look at that in a second, see why not both. So I'm ready to give you the answer. You ready? All right. Number 1. Number 2 would not be allowed. Why would number 2 not be allowed? Does everybody understand why? Because I want to make sure you leave this training understanding why number 2 would not be allowed. Why would number 2 not be allowed? Any ideas on that? Because it's a before and after. Okay, if you have a before and after, any before and after, I don't care what it is, health-wise, weight-wise, even intelligence. They're not going to let you do a before and after. It's just not going to happen. Okay, so don't even try. It doesn't mean you won't see an ad every now and then like that on Facebook because it slips through the cracks. But for the most part, don't do it, because what's worse is if it slips through the cracks and they allow an ad like that and you make some money on it, they're more likely to ban your account than just disallow your next ad. So you don't even want one to slip through the cracks. That's not what you're looking for. Okay, let's look at another sample. Sexually suggestive. All right. Ads can't use creative. Now listen to this terminology: that is overly sexual, imply nudity, show excessive amounts of skin or cleavage, or focus, okay, unnecessarily on body parts, even if portrayed for artistic or educational reasons. So here's the question. We've got 3 images here, and I will tell you that it looks, now these are actual images from Facebook, I'm going to tell you right now, and one of these is okay. The other 2 are not okay. Which are they? David says none of them. And David, I got to kind of agree with you because they all fall into one of those categories, but I will tell you that one of them is okay. Somebody else says nothing's okay. Somebody says number 2 is okay. Somebody says the middle one, which we'll classify that as number 2. Francesa wants to be more specific, and that's true. They aren't numbered, are they? So, okay, none. Okay, 2, 2, 2, middle 2. All right, so let's take a look. Here's the answers. That one is not allowed. Will not be allowed in a Facebook ad. That one is allowed in a Facebook ad. Now, if you look at that one and you say, well, what's excessive amounts of cleavage? I don't know. But Facebook has said that middle picture would be approved. And this one here, nah, that ain't going to happen. Okay, that's a little too suggestive, so that's not going to happen. So you can see, even though they have these rules here, this middle picture here seems excessive to me. What do you think, Jessica?
It definitely seems like it should not be okay.
Right.
But I have seen many ads like that for bras.
Yeah. So I don't know, and you know what? This could be like approved here, but not in Singapore, or not in China. I don't know. So these are actual images that, if you go into Facebook and they'll show you approved images that they said that one is okay. So some of them are ambiguous. Let's take a look at another ad. Shock and scare tactics. Okay, now here's their terminology. Images that are scary, gory, or sensationalized aren't allowed. We don't allow these images, okay, because they may shock or elicit negative response from your audience. All right. So the question is, which of these images would be acceptable in a Facebook or Instagram ad? Understand Facebook owns Instagram. So let's see here. Depends on the context. Partha says neither. My computer's locked up a little bit. Neither, somebody else is saying. All right, let's take a look here. Is yours locked up a little bit there, Jessica? Mine is. I can't do anything with a chat there. Okay, the first one's not allowed. Now, all that is a crashed car. That's all it is. But they're saying that if you have a picture like that, they will not allow it. And all that is a crashed car. That's it. Crazy, right? I mean, it's not like people are in the car or anything, but they're saying, nope, can't do it, won't happen. Image number 2, not allowed. You're pointing a gun at somebody. I kind of get that one. That makes more sense to me. And there's your answer. Neither one of these ads would be approved, or if they got approved, which they can slip through the cracks, what's going to happen is, you're going to have that ad either pulled down or you're going to lose your account. All right, let's take a look at another ad sample. Now, this one here is really interesting. Right here, it says your ad cannot contain an altered or an outdated version of the Facebook or Instagram logos, okay, or what? Trademarks, names, domain names, logos, or other content that imitates or could be confused with Facebook. Also, by using the logo, you shouldn't be implying a partnership with Facebook. So here's the deal. They say that you can use their logos. They have no problem with that. But you cannot imply that you're part of Facebook. So we have a Facebook course coming out on ads, and on that course page, so if you were selling courses on Facebook ads, you have to put at the bottom a disclaimer that you are not affiliated, approved, or anything like that to do with Facebook. But let's get back to these different logos here and see which ones would be approved. Now, I'd like to get your opinion. My little chat there is locked up, Jessica. So what opinions are we getting?
Somebody thinks number 5 is okay.
Somebody thinks number 5 is okay. Put your comments in that little box there. Somebody says number 2 is okay. Okay. Somebody says 3 is okay. Are they all okay, guys? 5 and 3 is an answer we've got.
I have no idea.
3, 4, 5. Somebody says they don't know. Well, that's the whole idea. You just guess. You just guess. You know, try to base it on what I put up above there. Okay. And let's see here. Okay, you guys ready for the answer? Drum roll. We don't have a drum roll, do we? I had a drum roll the other day. All right, so let's take a look at them. Let's look at the first one. Yes, you could do that. That is Facebook. That is their logo. You could use it. Make sure you put a disclaimer that you are not part of Facebook. You're not approved by Facebook. And if you don't have a disclaimer, just Google, disclaimer for Facebook non-affiliation. You'll find it. Everything's on the internet. Image 2. Who says image 2 is okay? Put in there real quick. Anybody say image 2 is okay?
No.
Nobody says image 2 is okay?
Nope.
Huh. Why would image 2?
Well, some people said all of them are okay.
Some of them say all of them. Okay. So yeah, some people said image 2 okay.
Yeah, so sure.
Image 2 is not okay. Why is image 2 not okay, guys? Look up at that definition of what you can and can't do and give me some guesses on that. What do we got in there?
The wrong color.
Somebody says it's the wrong color. You're right. Ding, ding, ding. Whoever that is, you win a gold star. We will email that over to you after this session. I'm kidding, of course. You're not going to get a gold star. But the reason you can't do that is because you've taken the Facebook logo and you've made it red, and Facebook doesn't like red. They only like blue. So there, okay, you can't do that. What about the next one? What about image 3? Would that be approved? What about image 3? Who's saying image 3? Got 4 people. Yeah, saying image 3 is okay. One person says it's not because it has a box. Okay. And it doesn't look like image 1. All right. Let's take a look. It is not approved. Why would that not be approved? Here's why. This will blow your mind. That one is not going to be approved because that's an old logo of Facebook. That's the one they used to use, but they no longer use it. And if you look up there in the definition, they say you can't use an old or outdated version of the Facebook logo, even though that's a Facebook logo. So that would not be approved. Insane, right? It's crazy. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Who thinks image 4 is okay? Now, image 4 is obviously Instagram. I don't do Instagram ads. That's not my thing. But, that is part of Facebook, and you can run your Instagram ad from your ad account. Who thinks that would be approved? I got 2 people say it would be approved. One says it would not be approved because it doesn't say Instagram. It doesn't have the word Instagram in it. Okay. Somebody else says it would be approved. The other person agrees they have to have the Instagram name. Let's take a look. It would be approved. Okay. So they do not require that you have the Instagram name. You can use just the logo, even though, really look how simplistic that logo is. It's a circle and then kind of a rounded square and a dot.
It's not the right color.
Well, they say it is. On Facebook, actually, they say that is the right color. And that came directly from Facebook. So there you go. It's one of their images that are approved. And the last one there, yes, you can use that one. Facebook thumbs up. You can use that particular image. It's the right color and everything. So it does get ambiguous on this, guys. We don't always know, what's going to get approved, what's not. Only thing we can do is just go by the rules of what they tell us. All right, now let's take a look at this one here. This is an ad that I ran. This particular ad is selling a book, okay? And let's take a look at this ad for a second. All right, we're going to look at text penalties first off. Facebook prefers that you use as little text as possible on your ads. They don't want you to use a lot. If you got to use text, you want to limit it to about 20% of the image. This actually used to be the rule. They literally did 20%. They don't do that anymore. But what they are saying is having more text may prevent your ad from being shown as much or not shown at all. So they can actually take your money and not show your ad. Funny, huh? Because you had too much text. Now, normally they will warn you. They will say, your reach has been reduced because of the amount of text on your image. You get a notice like that. But let's take a look a little bit deeper into this one here, because this is one we ran for a while. You want to try to put your text in the description instead of the image. Now, why would I even care to do that? Well, because the more text you put in the image, that takes time, and somebody scrolling through their feed is going to look at that and go, somebody spent time to do that. That must be an ad. So we don't really want our ads to look like ads. We want them to look more organic. And if you start putting a bunch of fancy text in there, people are going to look at that and go, that's an ad. I'm just going to scroll through. They're more likely to click on something organic that they think somebody else just posted. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you a tool, and I would suggest you copy that down. This is called the text overlay tool, and it is at that website right there, which is facebook.com/ads/tools/text_overlay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this image now, just the image, and I'm going to upload it to Facebook. And I've already done that in advance, but I'm going to upload it to Facebook and show you the results that you will see. Okay, so this is the image text check. All right, so there's that image, and I uploaded it, and it says your ad will run normally. Okay, so by putting it in there, I can tell. Now, generally, they don't mind if you have text, and I'll go over this a little bit more later on, but they don't mind if you have text on a product. It's the text on the ad that is bothered by, because they don't like that. Okay. So they say it's okay, your ad's okay, and I'm not going to have any issues with that one. Okay, so next ad sample. Okay, there are exceptions, which I just mentioned, such as images that include calligraphy. Calligraphy will get you by, so if you want to use a different text, infographics, movie posters, and more. Okay, now once again, this gets ambiguous. All right, so I want to show you these three images here. And I want to ask you, which images would be considered exceptions and are not subject, okay, to the delivery on Facebook or Instagram? So take a look at these. Looks like we got a t-shirt in the first one. I don't know if it's a pillow or what. The second one could be a t-shirt. And then the third one there is also a t-shirt. And these are actual Facebook examples that they give you. So I have, what are people saying there, Jessica? Somebody says number 1's okay, number 3's okay, number 2 is not, because there's 3 of them there. Okay. I got somebody saying they're all okay. Somebody says number 2's not okay because it looks like more than 20%. Somebody says number 1's okay. All right, let's take a look at the answers. Let's take a look at image number 1. Approved. Okay, they would allow this ad right here. That one would be allowed. What about the next one there? Now, obviously, that next one is more than 20%, okay? But it would be approved because it falls under that exception where the text is actually on the product itself. But there's also an exception to that rule, which I'm going to cover in just a second. There's an exception to the exception. And image 3 would be too, okay? So you could do that one there. So let's look at the exception of the exception, okay? If you zoom in on that logo on that shirt and try to use it as an ad, it would not be allowed, because images that are zoomed in on or logos with images with text overlay, like the image below, will not be approved, and it's not considered an exception anymore because you zoomed in on it. All right. So now what I would like to do is talk a little bit about secure customer information. This has been a big thing with Facebook, and secure customer information is their way of saying, hey, we've got data, but we don't know who we've got data on. I know it's kind of crazy. So I'm going to walk you through how they actually do this. Okay, so we're going to talk about custom audiences for a second. Custom audiences were designed to maximize information security and privacy. Facebook systems have been audited by an independent third party, PricewaterhouseCoopers. Don't they do all those contests on TV? I think they do. They confirm that Facebook's secure mechanisms, and I don't even know if they understand their mechanisms, right? But they confirm that their secure mechanisms protect advertisers' information through the creation, use, and storage of their custom audiences. All right, so let's take a little bit deeper dive into that. Hashing. What is hashing? Remember I told you we were going to talk about hash in the beginning? We are. Here it comes. Okay. There's Snoop Dogg's opinion. I'm not smoking anymore, but I ain't smoking any less. Is that what we're talking about? Nope, we're not talking about that. We're talking about hashing is a process that turns information you share with Facebook into short fingerprints that are impossible to reverse. When they say impossible to reverse, that means track back to that person, okay? They use all this fancy talk, so sometimes we don't know what they're talking about. All right, so let's look at hashing, okay? This is the diagram that Facebook actually uses to explain their hashing and how the hashing works when you upload information. So let's take a look at each step. The first one, when you begin the process to share your customers list, it's hashed locally on your browser before it's uploaded to Facebook. Okay, so first off, it's on your browser. Then Facebook matches the fingerprints, and we just talked about what fingerprints are, the fingerprints of your hashed list against theirs. Then the matches are added to a custom audience for you. Okay, this is something they're doing for you. And the matched and unmatched hashes are deleted. Okay, so even after they've brought all this information in, once they've done the audience, they go back and they delete where the information came from or hashes. The resulting custom audiences are stored in your ad account where only authorized account admins can request that ads be delivered to them. No one can identify specific individuals in custom audiences. So you do have these custom audiences, but you don't know who's in them, but Facebook does, I guess is how that works. You'll just see the appropriate number of people they contain, but that's not always true because I upload audiences all the time and it says information not available. So, I mean, that does happen. So I understand that can happen to you. In addition to this information that you provide, they can also hash pixels, SDKs, CRMs, or transaction activities. Transactions like buyers, people like that, okay, to match against a potential audience in their system. So if you upload a bunch of your buyers, they can go out and find more buyers for you. Insane, but true. Okay, so we have covered a lot of information, right? I mean, this is pretty heady stuff today. So we need to do a little bit of question and answer. And you're welcome to put your questions in that little box there. Now I'm going to downsize my screen here if I can. Yes, I can. But man, I'm locked up in this one here, Jessica. So let's look at question and answer. And like I said, put your questions in the box there. I've got a little bit of time for. I know I ran really long today, but we had a lot of information to cover. And Jessica, do you have any questions over there?
Yes, I do. I have Sandy asking, why are there so many rules?
Sandy says, why are there so many rules? I don't know. I think, rules are made every time a situation comes up and they're trying to protect that particular person. So, anytime an issue comes up and you'll see it like, cook this pizza, before you eat it, type of things on the box. Somebody did something weird like that. So that's where the rules come from. And they want to protect users. I mean, they really do. They want users to have a good experience. And I think Facebook has improved over the years in that area because what's happened is, I know the ads that I see now are a whole lot more relevant than what they were 2 or 3 years ago. So they're doing a better job at that.
Laura is asking, just for good practice, if every account in your ad account, if you should always have a disclaimer in the footer of all of your pages that you're not affiliated with Facebook.
Well, the disclaimer really, and she's asking, do we need a disclaimer on the bottom of every page that we're advertising? The answer to that is no, you don't. The only time that disclaimer is really needed is when you are using Facebook's logos or you're saying something about Facebook. That's when you want to do that. But if you're, selling a, gosh, a dog necklace and you're not saying anything about Facebook, no, you don't have to do that. You'd want to have your own disclaimers at the bottom of whatever those are, but you don't have to say anything about Facebook.
Um, Christine is asking, well, how do you stay on top of the rules, and is there a link to all the rules?
How do you stay on top of the rules, and is there a link? The best way to stay on top of it is listen to me. No, all kidding aside, you want to stay on top of the rules. You really need to be involved with them on a daily basis. You can go to Facebook Blueprint and look at the new things that come out. That's a lot of reading to do. We try to, crunch all that down for you and give you all that stuff and all the different trainings. But you do want to listen to somebody who's doing Facebook ads every single day, because this stuff does change. What you could do, 6 months ago is different from what you can do today. So it's hard to stay on top of it, but stick with people that study it every day. We do study it, and you can go into my group, The Art of E-commerce Success. We talk about stuff like that. I do trainings on that type of stuff, and it's just a never-ending battle. It's something you got to do.
So let's see here. Randy is asking if you can get your account reinstated if they ban it.
Randy said, can you get your account reinstated if they ban it? There is a resolution process you can go through. For the most part, if you have an ad not approved, you can resubmit it and get it approved. But once you have an account banned, it's really, really, really tough to get it reapproved. So it's not a process I've done. I'm not going to say I have done it. And I don't know if I know of anybody that's actually done it, but you can, they allow you resolution. It's just like, they'll always allow you to complain, but that doesn't mean they're going to change a thing. So the best thing to do is protect yourself by not doing anything wrong.
Dan is wanting to know what's the best place to get images.
What's the best place to get images? The best ones really are the ones that you do yourself, because they're going to look more organic. Take your own pictures. If you have a product, do that. If you want to go to some of these commercial sites, you can do that. You can pay for those images. Facebook even has an image library you can use if you want to use some of those. But understand those, those can be used by millions of people, so they kind of get overused. The best thing to do is really take your own pictures.
Sandy is asking, where can I get additional training for Facebook ads?
Where can you get additional training for Facebook ads? I will have a course coming out, Sandy, on Facebook ads. And what you can do, guys, if you're interested in that course, since you're already part of my group, if you would post in the comment section that you have an interest in Facebook ads training, we will get you a discount. Jessica will look in there now and copy any of those names over to her Word doc. She'll go ahead and do that now. And we'll have those names in the Word doc, and then I can contact you guys. You can send me an email. You can send me a PM. And I'll get that information to you, because that's going to be a really, really, really extensive course. It's going to take you from beginner to expert. I would say it's a college level course. Matter of fact, it's going to be called Facebook Ads University. You wouldn't get it in college. You wouldn't get all this information in college. So, that's one way to do it. And of course, you can study on your own. You can watch videos. You just got to be really careful who you're listening to. If they don't run ads and they're trying to teach you how to run ads, and all they do is sell a bunch of courses, you want to be leery of that.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to.
Jessica is looking through questions.
Who Lisa, who is the best person to get training from?
Lisa says, who's the best person to get training from? I would say you want to search people who actually run ads every day. And that doesn't necessarily mean an agency, though some agencies do some training. You want to, unfortunately, there are agencies that are good and bad, like any profession. There are agencies out there that run ads for people that don't sell products, that don't sell services, that just take people's money and run ads for them. And then there's agencies that actually have experience, that sell their own products and services. I would say stick with somebody like that. We do our own products and services. We have physical products, we have digital products, and we do training. So, stick with a company or a person that's like that you can trust. You don't have to go to us, but, certainly by, going to somebody like us or us, you're going to probably have better results.
All right. Nikki wants to know what restaurant you're going to today.
Nikki wants to know what restaurant I'm going to. How'd you know I'm doing that, Nikki? Um, I don't want to say in advance. I shouldn't do that, right? We're going to surprise you, Nikki. So we'll take some pictures and we'll be there. I can say this, Italian, okay? Italian in San Diego. So if you want to meet up with us, just go to an Italian restaurant in San Diego and you'll see us there.
All right. Let's see here.
Somebody's saying there's a lot of Italian restaurants. Yeah, that was my point.
Carl wants to know, how long does it take to get good at doing ads?
Carl wants to know how long it takes to get good at doing ads. It really depends on how many you do and how often, how many tests you run. You can get good at this pretty quick if you follow the guidelines and you run enough ads. And then I've seen people do it for years that don't get good because they just don't do much. They run one or two ads and quit, and run another one or two and quit. It really is dependent upon you. It's like saying how much money can you make online and how quick can I make it? It's dependent on you. It really is.
Michelle wants to know if you can have more than one Facebook ad account.
Yes, you can have more than one Facebook ad account. That's the question. You can have one for every niche, but you can only have one for each niche or Facebook page that you have. So you're limited to that.
Paul wants to know, I've seen ads that violate some of the rules you said. Why is that?
Paul said that he's seen ads that violate the rules and they're still running. That is true, and that's what I was telling you at the beginning of this training. There are ads that slip through the cracks, but you don't want it to happen. And the reason you don't want it to happen is because if your ad slips through the cracks and it runs and you make a bunch of money on it and then they catch it, they may just ban your account because they're going to assume you're going to keep doing that. So it's better not to have a bad ad, slip through the cracks than it is just to have one disapproved. If it's disapproved, then it's just disapproved, no big deal. And I think we got time for maybe one or two more questions, Jessica, and then we're going to be overtime here.
Okay. Let's see. Angela said, why is it that some of my ads get approved immediately and some take hours or days?
Angela's asking the question why some ads get approved really fast and some of them take time. I don't know. I mean, it's really weird. Sometimes I'll do an ad, and let's say it's an ad that I've just duplicated another ad set and I've changed an image or something like that, and it could take a day or two for it to get approved. I'm like, well, it's the same ad. There's no difference. And then sometimes I can create a completely new ad, and as soon as I put it up, it's instantly approved. I will say for the most part, if you're duplicating ads, they tend to get approved a little bit faster than when you're starting new ad campaigns. But nobody really knows the algorithm for that. And I think we got time for one more question, Jessica.
All right, you want me to pick it?
Should we let Jessica pick it? I think so. Yeah, Jessica, you go ahead and pick the question.
All right, let's see. All right. Dave wants to know, will I ever understand all their rules?
Dave wants to know, will I ever understand all the rules? You will. It's not that bad. The problem is not understanding all the rules. It's staying on top of their new rules. That's the big problem. But once you wrap your head around the basics, and I think, the end of this training here, you guys probably have a much better understanding. And you'd put in the comment box if that's not true, but I think you probably have a much better understanding of what they're looking for and what they allow, what they don't allow. If you just stay on top of it, that's the one thing I would tell you, and it's like any profession. If you're a pilot, and I was a pilot for years, you had to stay on top of stuff, right? And you don't want a pilot flying an airplane that's not on top of stuff or hasn't read a book in years. You don't want that. Okay. Same thing with your doctor. They got to stay on top of stuff. There's advancements, and that's true with any profession, guys. I don't even care if somebody says, well, what about roofing? Well, yeah, because there's new materials that come out, new ways to apply it. And, technology advancements are going to affect every area. And the best thing you can do to be good at it is what? Stay on top of it, read, learn, listen to other people, that type of thing. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I really appreciate everybody showing up today. My window's kind of locked, so I'm going to have a hard time closing this. I think maybe Jessica's going to have to close this out for me. But I really appreciate you being here, guys. Your comments, your participation means a whole lot. See me in the group, the Art of E-commerce Success. Also, if you haven't done it, and I want to give you a chance to do this, go to the handout section now. There's a little arrow there, and I've put a handout in there. There's some resources. There's links, and some of those are our affiliate links. I want to be open about that, but you can get some discounts on everything from email providers to funnel providers to all that. And you can download that. There's also the link to the group in there. So it's right below polls. It says handouts. Click that little triangle. It'll open up. You can click on it and you can download that. That is free. It's a great little resource for you to use. So check that out. We are going to head out to lunch now, and then we'll be back at it. Okay, guys? I really appreciate you showing up, and I will talk to you very soon.